Hello everyone and welcome to the latest TBU merch review. I am Dustin and today we are taking a look at the McFarlane Toys Gold Label Batman as designed by Todd McFarlane. Now, first things first, this is kind of interesting because this figure was originally, or I should say the Gold Label version of Batman, was originally announced as a Walmart exclusive. That specific figure came with golden swords and it had a pair of goggles on his head. And that's the original figure that was announced. Now, that was also last year in 2020. This year in 2021, it seems as if that same mold, or at least the majority of it at least, has made its way over to other retailers as this new version of the Gold Label Batman. Now, you won't find this specific version of the character. Interestingly, you will not find it on the McFarlane website. I'm not sure exactly why that is, considering they do have a variety of the variants that are available when it comes to the different figures, but this specific version of the figure is not listed on their website. The other one, the original one with the goggles over Batman's cowl, is in fact on the website and is listed as a Walmart exclusive. So as we take a look at this figure that we have here, we picked this up at Target. It's also available on Amazon. The packaging is going to be very similar to the packaging for the original Gold Label figure. However, the biggest difference is that the card itself does not feature the goggles on Batman's head. So the back of the packaging, which goes along with the card that you're going to find inside, does not feature that goggle on top of Batman's head. Now, the packaging itself is fairly straightforward. The one thing that is unique about the packaging compared to the packaging of some of the previous versions is the fact that the packaging does say Todd McFarlane designed and does not correlate to any of the specific comic or media incarnations of Batman, because this is the original incarnation. Personally, I will say up front, I'm not a huge fan of Todd McFarlane's versions of Batman. If you look at his art from the late 80s, early 90s that he did some Batman, I will say I enjoyed his art itself, but when he's given free rein to do what he wants to do, he kind of goes a little bit overboard with the type of details that he puts in, and we'll talk about more about that as we look at this figure itself. Now, obviously, we did not look at the original version of the figure. This is the first up-close version of these figures that we're taking a look at. The packaging itself, it comes packaged with a couple of accessories and then the figure, the display stand, and the card. As we look at the figure itself, again, there are some differences between this and the other version outside of those goggles. The cowl and cape, along with the cape drawn over the shoulders, is that kind of like a dark navy blue or a royal blue compared to the gray version that the original Gold Label figure was. The other main difference outside of the goggles is that the accessories are in fact different. But as you look at the details of what you get with this figure, obviously there's some great articulation. The cape, I have to say, it's kind of cool to see the cape kind of folded like this because you don't typically see that. The cape typically it drapes over Batman and then it kind of gets in the way of the arms. This is a nice way of having the cape in a different format. However, those details that are specifically talking about the spikes that you find on top of Batman's gauntlets. You find grenades. You find other weapons that you typically would not find of Batman. Now, I do like the use of the more militaristic version of the utility belt, that with the pouches and stuff, that is kind of cool. But when it comes to randomly having a grenade, I'm also not sure what the point behind that is. I also don't really see the necessity for the spikes on the gauntlets. It just seems a little overboard. When you look at the face itself, it just feels a little off. I mean, I'm not sure if this is meant to be like a older version of Batman, but the face just does not look great. It looks like he's been punched in the face a little too many times, and also he's a little bit older just because of how wrinkly the skin is itself. So not a huge fan of that. As we look at the swords themselves, the original swords were a completely different shape, and they were also a completely different color. These are black. These are more of a blue that matches the cape and cowl on Batman. The Batarang is standard gold. Like I said, the card matches this version compared to the previous version. Details are always found on the cards themselves. But it's interesting that the accessories are a little bit different for the figure just because. When you look at the figure as a whole, you obviously have the ability to put those swords in the back of Batman's cowl. There's a little spot for him in the back. That's kind of nice because it's nice to have a spot for those specific accessories. Unfortunately, there's not a spot for the Batarang on the utility belt, despite the fact that there is a number of pouches, and you think they could have just had one of the pouches be open so that the Batarang could have slid in, but unfortunately that's not the case. Overall, I mean, it's an extremely detailed figure. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I know that this type of stuff has been very popular. It kind of emulates what we've seen in Dark Knight's Metal, and that stuff has been extremely popular. If you are interested in purchasing this figure, please take a moment to click our affiliate link that can be found in the description below. That link itself will help TBU out, and obviously it is at no cost to you. If you are interested in finding out more information about more McFarlane Toys figures that feature the characters from the Batman universe, or if you are interested in finding content related to movies, television, video games, and the comics, be sure to check out our website, thebatmanuniverse.net. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, join our Discord, where there is always conversations going on about all kinds of elements found within the Batman universe. With all of that being said, thank you so much for checking out this latest TBU merch review. I'm Dustin for thebatmanuniverse.net, and we'll see you guys next time.